Towering over the dark capital of Pyongyang, a massive pyramid suddenly flashes to life. Giant glowing North Korean flags project across the skyline, cast from the surface of the country's most imposing structure. This is the Ryugyong Hotel. Reaching 330 meters into the air, its massive concrete shell is divided into 3 distinct wings that converge into a sharp peak 105 stories above the ground. The original blueprints for the interior were highly ambitious. Planners mapped out 360,000 square meters of usable space to fit 3,000 luxury rooms, a bowling alley, and a specialized cone at the very top designed to house 5 rotating restaurants. Construction began over 3 decades ago, yet despite its towering presence over the capital, the hotel has never hosted a single guest. The doors remain locked, and no one is allowed inside. To understand why a building of this scale sits entirely empty, we have to look past the glowing modern exterior to find the fatal flaws hidden inside the concrete. The roots of this empty tower trace back to the end of the Second World War in 1945, when the Korean peninsula was split into 2 occupation zones. That initial division was cemented by the immense violence and destruction of the 1950 Korean War, locking the North and South into a bitter, permanent rivalry. Fast forward to the 1980s, South Korea was rapidly developing into a democracy, opening its markets to the world and experiencing a massive economic boom. The South was racking up immense prestige victories on the world stage. A South Korean company built what was then the tallest hotel in the world in Singapore, and a few years later, the country successfully hosted the 1988 Seoul Olympics. Dictator Kim Il-sung demanded a response. With North Korea set to host the World Festival of Youth in 1989, he ordered the construction of a 105-story structure to physically overshadow the South's architectural achievements. From the moment the ground was broken, the Ryugyong Hotel was never evaluated as a functional business venture. It was conceived entirely as a psychological weapon to project absolute North Korean superiority. The regime set an impossible 2-year construction timeline for the opening. To hit that deadline, builders resorted to rapid, reckless methods to raise the massive 3-winged shell. This 3D cross-section illustrates the core issue. The 360,000 square meter structure relies entirely on a heavy mass of poured concrete, with a complete absence of a supporting steel framework inside the walls. Without a flexible steel skeleton to absorb stress and distribute the load, the massive concrete walls are dangerously unreinforced. The immense weight of the upper floors presses down on the lower levels, generating structural stress fractures that leave the building vulnerable to crumbling. This specific engineering flaw carries lethal consequences. In 2014, a similarly constructed concrete-only apartment skyscraper in Pyongyang collapsed completely under its own weight. Before the hotel's concrete could even be tested by use, an external economic blow struck. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, instantly severing North Korea's primary source of financial backing. By 1993, the state ran out of money. All work stopped, leaving behind a $750 million windowless, rusting gray shell. While hundreds of millions of dollars sat frozen in that concrete colossus, a severe economic crisis hit the country. Millions of North Korean citizens suffered through extreme poverty and a devastating famine. The ultimate symbol of regime supremacy became a deeply shameful eyesore. State media went as far as physically airbrushing the decaying gray walls out of official photographs of the city. It took 15 years for the regime to find a way to hide the gray concrete. In 2008, they tasked the Egyptian telecommunications group Orascom with installing a modern glass exterior across the entire structure. Following the regime transition in 2011, Kim Jong-un oversaw the completion of the glass facade and renewed the push for a grand opening. The German luxury hotel group Kempinski initially announced plans to finish 150 rooms at the top of the tower. But by 2013, they permanently canceled the project, citing heightened political tensions and the unsafe reality of the unreinforced interior. With the interior completely unusable, the regime pivoted. Starting in 2018, they bolted thousands of LEDs over the glass panels, turning the useless building into a giant looping digital billboard. The physical structure of the Ryugyong Hotel is a glittering, technologically advanced exterior, actively masking a crumbling, dangerous, and completely hollow core. While it failed completely as a luxury destination for guests, the building succeeded perfectly in projecting power. It stands over Pyongyang as the ultimate physical monument to the illusions of a totalitarian dictatorship.